Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go.
So my son's birthday is December 23rd. So he's like basically a Christmas baby, okay? You're January 1st baby. Did you like the January 1st thing or what?
Never liked it. Never liked
No?
it.
No?
No, because
Hated it?
I mean, it's an afterthought. It's hey, happy
Yeah.
holidays, happy birthday, happy New Year, oh yeah, happy birthday. It's an
Yeah.
afterthought, and I get it. I totally get it,
Yeah.
and it's fine because all these years, I'm glad that nobody really fussed over my birthday. It's like, come on, seriously,
Yeah.
once around the earth, and it's like now we're having
Yeah.
another celebration.
Yeah. So I'm 53 years old, and I
Nice.
always in my mind thought, okay, if I get to 40, that must feel old. 50, okay. I think you're turning 70 if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah, no,
coming
you're
up
not
here.
mistaken.
Yeah,
You're
so
exactly right.
like do you feel like how you thought you'd feel at this age, or did you ever think like I did, certain ages would feel a certain way?
I'll be honest, it's been a long time since I really thought about age. Like, when I mean like you get up in the morning, you go, I'm 53 years old. And I just don't. And the other thing is, I can reach back to when I was a kid, and of course, everybody to me was old. So
Yeah.
you could have been in your 40s and you
Yeah.
were old, and if you were in your 60s, you were really old, and if you were in your 80s, you
Yeah.
probably couldn't communicate. Like it was like that was really super far
Yeah.
beyond. So no, I never. If you would have said to me, when you're 70, you're going to be, in pretty good shape and golfing and
Yeah.
walking, and not having any health issues, and
Yeah.
doing okay financially and
Yeah.
all that, I would have said, great, yeah,
Sign me
okay,
up. Sign me
yes,
up.
yeah,
Hey,
it's kind of the
I think
plan,
we,
right? That's the
I think
idea,
we,
right?
I think we're aging better. I do believe that. Like, I think you look at pictures back in the day and you see a 50-year-old guy. He looked like you're almost 70. You look great. Like you look like I'd
Thanks.
say early 60s. But that's what I'm talking about. We're
Oh, early
aging. I
60s.
think we're aging better. You know what I mean? Just in general. Yeah. Look at that. Love it, man. Love it. Hey, so speaking of youth, speaking of aging, I got hooked into media when I was 6 or 7, Indian Head, Saskatchewan. I would listen to the Rider games on the radio. They were a horrible football team in the late 70s, early 80s. And I would throw the ball back and forth to myself on the grass because I had nobody to play with. My brother was too young. And I would commentate the games in my head and mark down my own stats. And while the Riders were getting their ass beat by the Eskimos, I would have them in my head beating the Eskimos and calling the game. So that's kind of got me turned on to media. What got you turned on to media?
I don't know if there was a specific time where I said I want to go into that business. I know that I did enjoy reading, the long form articles, newspaper articles, columnists, and of course Sports Illustrated when it came out. So any long
Yeah.
form, like good stories about, the athletes that I was watching and, and the personalities and all that type of stuff to me was great. There wasn't a lot to get. And usually the good feature writers were good writers, put a, really good story together. And so I think there was probably some romanticism there. And the fact that I enjoyed writing and my mother thought, oh, you know what, being a writer would be a really noble profession.
Yeah.
And, sports writing at the time was like, oh, okay, it's writing, at least it's writing. And you love
Yeah.
sports, so why not? And then as time went on, the opportunity came that maybe you could be a sports broadcaster since, like you say, since you're doing the play-by-play of the road hockey games
Yeah.
while you're playing.
Yeah.
Like nobody does that. Like nobody plays, and while they're playing, they call the entire game.
Yeah.
Like even when they're on the bench,
Yeah.
they're still commentating. They're still calling the play-by-play. Like nobody does that. Like you must be out of your mind.
Right.
And so I harnessed that craziness, I guess, into somewhat of a career because that's sort of my thing. Doing
Yeah.
something like nobody does that. Like,
Yeah.
did you ever play road hockey or whatever? And while the person was like, as you're going back to pass or you're running your pattern, you're calling the play-by-play.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right?
Hey, talk about pestering Bob McCown into getting into this industry. I heard you're on a recent podcast talking about that. Talk about pestering the great Bob McCown.
Right. So Bob was, I used to listen to Bob on the radio, and I just, I was in college taking radio, TV broadcasting, and I'm hearing this guy, and he's good. He really knows his stuff, and not just like one or two sports. He knows everything: football, baseball, hockey, basketball, college football, college basketball. Like me, he's like me. He's,
Yeah.
a freak. Golf. golf, tennis, auto racing, like,
Yeah.
and minutia about sports. And I'm loving this. And I decide that I want to work for this guy. And so I'm sending off tapes to him and resume and trying to phone to get an interview for a job that really doesn't exist, but I want to work there. And I'm pestering him, and I don't get any response at all. And I find out where he parks his car. So I know now where he parks his car and what time he gets to work in the morning, because at the time he was on early in the morning and late in the afternoon, the old split shift.
Yeah.
Right, come do the morning drive and then come back later and do the afternoon drive. So 5:30 in the morning, I'm stalking him. I'm waiting for him to come out of this underground garage behind Maple Leaf Gardens next to the radio station. Startle this guy, because I'm fair, so I'm about 6'2", 6'3", and like that. And he's a pretty big guy too, pretty tall guy. So anyway, I say, hi, Mr. McCann. Look, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I sent in a tape, a resume. Okay. I guess he was thinking, if this kid's crazy enough to be standing here to try to get a job. So he says to me, I said, what do you think? He says, come back tomorrow morning, same time, and bring coffee. and I did. I shadowed him the next day. He showed me all the ropes and the station and the people and the whatever and kind of thing. And we sat down, and he offered me a job as his producer and to do some sports casting, right, to sort of ease into that job. And I was, now I'm hooked.
Yeah.
And, and then I produced his talk show, and then I took over for him on Sportsline on Global TV in 1984. And so, he was he was great. Yeah.
So I don't want to give too much of the book away. In the book, we haven't even talked about the book, The Rise and Madness, The Rise and Ruin of Sports Media. What do you think of the sports landscape today in terms of, like, I'll be honest with you, I'm sad for our industry. Like, I'm now in the podcasting world. Sell cars is I like so many. I got punted out, packaged out. Okay, so I went down this rabbit hole of doing podcasting. It's more a labor. It's more a labor of love than anything else.
I agree.
Well, how do you feel about the industry? Because to me, it's a shell of itself.
Well, I mean, that's a good part of the book. In actual fact, I mean, and it probably maybe the ruin part of the title kind of suggests that, because it's not what it was, but I guess you could say that about any industry, any form of life. Comparatively speaking, that's the way things are. There's progress, there's regret. But in this particular case, it's unfortunate because it's taken a lot of people with it, and also it's compromised itself. The industry has sort of compromised itself in a lot of ways, because it's now. It's not for the greater good of journalism and getting the truth out and asking the questions, the tough questions, and holding teams and players and executives accountable.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no more of that, because that type of journalism doesn't make money, sadly.
Yeah, it's true.
And the people that are running these teams, that own these teams, that have the power, and they do have all the power, they can now dictate, especially after the pandemic and the fact that media couldn't get close to players anyway in the bubble. They just took advantage of that and said, okay, no more media unless it's the media that we want there, that are covering the stories and providing the narrative that we want them to have, and not the media that's going to poke around and look for holes in the organization or bad trades, or you're going to start, talking smack about us and ruining our brand. That's the way of the world now. And if you happen to work for a media company that's independent of any of that, and no conflict of interest, and not to worry. Oh, and by the way, I forgot the gambling companies too. Are you sponsored? Is your segment of your whatever little world of the media, is it sponsored by a gambling company? Because if it is, maybe the way you look at things is a little different than someone who has no financial or any other interest in that. Okay? True, when I say, and that's a true journalist, I mean, how many of those are still around, and how many of them are willing to go and find out? Stories?
Find out the story. Yeah,
who's got the money? Who's going to supply the money for that?
Yeah, who's going to supply the money for it? Hey, Mark, what was your pinch me moment? First pinch me moment in broadcasting? Did you have one?
First pinch me moment in broadcast.
Or like I made it, like I'm here, like this is cool. This is from the guy who was stalking Bob McCown to producing his show, Sportsline. But like, what was there an interview? Was there a time where it's like, holy cow, I made it?
That's a really, I really gonna have to think about that, because there's a couple of occasions where in the moment I don't think I went, I can't believe that I'm doing this. But the one that sticks out probably the most is when I was at Global, and the Global first got the rights in the late 80s to Maple Leaf games, the midweek games. We had a package of like I think 30 to 35 games a year, which is a lot.
Yeah.
We were on like every midweek game, it seems. Home or road was like Global had the game. And so I was really sort of thrown into the fire of doing these between period interviews, and mostly it was post-game interviews because Dave Hodge was the host of these games. So he did the opening to the show. He did the between periods, and I did a couple of segments with him because I was working for Global and they had the rights. But Dave was the big name, right? And then Dave got himself into trouble with the Maple Leafs, and he said some things that Harold Ballard didn't like, the owner, who was dying at the time. He was going to be dead within a few months. And he banned Dave Hodge from Maple Leaf Gardens, and then eventually kicked him, said, to Global, you're going to get rid of him or I'm going to pull the rights from you guys. And Global had just gotten the rights. They're like, oh my God, we can't. So they basically had to fire Hodge. They had to ensure that they kept the rights. They bent over, basically. Yeah. And that was to my good fortune. So what happened was I'm at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. Global's doing the game. Dave Hodge is supposed to be the host. And I've had a couple of beers now before the game because I don't have to work until after the game. My job is
after the game,
not till the post-game show. I got hours away, so I'm with some buddies and in the stands, and I hear my name come over the PA system. So there's 19,000 people. You hear your name. Would Mark Hebscher please report to the dressing room or to the studio? Would Mark Hebscher please report to the TV studio? So holy cow. So I go down to the studio, and there's Dave Hodge, and he's standing there with the microphone, and he hands me the microphone, and he says, good luck. And off he goes. I'm the new host. I'm the guy. And I find that out. And so in that moment, I'm like, okay, buddy, like everything that's happened up to this point, is this what you wanted? Yeah. Sort of that kind of, okay, you got it. And in a whirlwind, it was just, you're on the air. You're the host, not Dave. You're going to do all the interviews. The first person I'm interviewing is Steve Yzerman.
Oh, wow.
Who I know. Yeah. And I'm like, Steve, and he comes in, and he was pretty shy on camera. It was early days. He was pretty shy. He didn't make eye contact. I'm like, Steve, I'm just, he was sort of surprised to see me. I said, Steve, you can make it easy on me, right? And so he was really good. And I got through all of that, and I hosted the games for a number of years. But at that particular moment, I'm like, if I would have stopped to think about it, I would have freaked out. Afterwards, I said, you were just talking in front of like 1 million people, or however many. Everybody was watching the Leaf game. So it's the Leafs, and it was Detroit. So, I mean, everybody, all Detroit fans and Global Signal went into like all kinds of areas. You go everywhere in the province, and so the whole province probably was watching on Global. And also, we were on the satellite, so people that had satellite dishes, which in those days there was quite a few.
Do you think you're born? Do you think you're born as a broadcaster, like with kind of a skill to just block it out? Like to hear you say that, it really strikes home. Like you don't realize when you're on the radio, like I was calling a Rough Rider game, you could have 5, 6, 700,000 people listening to you, but to you, you're just talking into the microphone, describing what you see. Like you're talking to over a couple million people, but it probably doesn't faze you. But like. And I never even think about that. Are you the same way? Do you think you're born with that, or do you have to kind of figure a way to kind of block that out?
No, I don't even think it's about blocking it out. I think someone said to you, listen, we can't see. We can't see anything. You're our eyes. Please describe to us what you see. We can't see. Yeah. And that was the essence of early radio, when radio first existed, and people heard a voice describing what was going on in a hockey game. With all the ambient sound of the boards and the skates and all that, it must have been like a shock, a miracle, like, wow. Yeah. And then to have someone describe what they're seeing to you in real time must have just been a blast, because when you saw the letters that were written about the first broadcasts, the readers of the newspaper were marveling at this, at this new type of communication. And really, that's what it comes down to. And if you notice on television, especially, a lot of television broadcasters think they have to fill every single second of airtime, not realizing that the viewer, it's for people who are watching, they can see that black thing is the puck. They know that red thing is the goal line. You're right. But people feel too compelled. Whereas for radio, that was essential. You needed to do that. You needed to fill that time. You couldn't leave the viewer hanging. What's going on? You're there. Explain to us what's going on. So we've kind of lost that connection between viewer and broadcaster, or listener and broadcaster, right?
Yeah.
Because we can see all this on our devices. We can do our own voiceover, and we can describe it the way we want it. Right?
Hey, did you have a favorite interview in your career?
I didn't have a particular favorite. I had a least favorite interview.
Okay.
In my career, I tell people, and that was with Wayne Gretzky. It was the least favorite interview, not because of what he was saying or anything. It was because I was very uncomfortable, because this was a live interview between periods. I was the between periods interviewer, as I mentioned to you, and we did a game once. And Wayne sweats a lot. Like, he sweats a lot. And Wayne's really, he's really polite. So with me anyway, Wayne always would, would take his hand out of his glove, out of his hockey glove, out of his sweaty Easton hockey 9500 GX glove, and shake your hand, right? And what are you going to do? You're going to say no? Wayne Gretzky goes to shake your hand. You don't say, I'm sorry, but you just had your hand in that smelly glove. You shake his hand, right?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, now he's sitting there, and he's just been sweating like crazy, and he's got that famous nose, right? Where he takes the helmet off, and the sweat goes like down, and it goes right to the tip of the nose, and it dangles on the tip of it doesn't fall off. And you know that the viewer is watching Wayne Gretzky, and they're not listening to what he's saying. They're looking and saying, how does that ball of sweat not fall off of his nose?
Why isn't Mark banging it off?
Yeah, and here I am with the towel, right? So it was extremely uncomfortable, and I got a towel too. But in the meantime, when the sweat ball finally falls, where does it fall?
On you?
Right on my crotch, because you have to be sitting really close to frame a two-shot. Exactly. Yeah. You know that, right? And so Gretzky's got a schnoz. It's got like a sort of ski jump at the end there, where it doesn't fall right off. That normal nose would fall. It took forever. When it does, now it's starting to cascade, because as soon as one falls, another one appears from the middle of the forehead, and he's sweating. I mean, he's sweating. The Great Sweatsky, I call him.
Yeah, the Great Sweatsky.
So for 4 minutes, I got Gretzky falls cascading down onto the crotch of my pants. That's an uncomfortable position to be in.
Least favorite interview.
That was the worst. That was the worst interview.
Awesome, man. So before, I want to get a comment from you on the CFL before we wrap up here. Sure. Toronto Argonauts, they've won the most Grey Cups ever. They just went through a new coaching change here. I'm like, if Doug Flutie and those teams can't get people interested, when will they ever be interested? They've won 2 of the last 4 Grey Cups. Can the Argos ever be anything ever again? Do they try hard? Does the organization try hard enough in that market?
Oh, sure they do. It's a really tough sell. See, the CFL lost at least one, maybe 2 generations of fans, starting with the blackout rule in the 70s, where when I was a teenager in my 20s, you couldn't see the home games of the Argonauts unless they were sellouts, right? They had to be a complete sellout. Right? Yeah. And even in a lot of cases, they still blacked the game out within 75 miles or 100 and whatever kilometers, 120 kilometers of the nearest transmitter to the stadium where the game. So Hamilton was affected as well. So for many years, we never got to see these home games. And we wanted to see them badly, but these archaic rules we want people to show up at the games. They didn't understand that they were losing an audience. And now the Jays are coming along. So that was one occasion. And then there was another one, I think, in the 90s where they had a chance to, but they futzed around with different logos and CFL expansion into Shreveport, Louisiana, and Las Vegas. And, oh my God, it was just a mess. So it starts with that. How the league is run. Who's running the league? Is it a good ownership group?
Yeah.
Is it stable? And the answer is no. It's being held together by TSN. And that's the unfortunate truth of it. Who's interested? Who's really interested in the Canadian Football League? Folks out west.
Yeah, and it's
Tough
generally
sell in the east. Tough sell.
Yeah, for sure.
And no Atlantic team. Why no Atlantic team? Why all these years?
Well, we've been waiting forever for that.
Why? So that's leadership. So you're telling me you can't get a team into Atlantic Canada, and I don't care if the stadium seats 12,500.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. And here's one more thing before we finish. Why isn't every CFL game, or most, part of a weekend that also includes the local college university team? Why are the Alberta Golden Bears not playing the Calgary Dinosaurs the same weekend, like the day before or the day after, the Saturday, after the Stampeders are hosting the Elks? Duh. Hello, right? Well, seriously, why are the Bisons, Manitoba Bisons, not playing on the same weekend that the Bombers are playing at home against the BC Lions, or vice versa? Why is McMaster not playing the same weekend that the Ticats are at home against the Argos? Yeah, to me, it's a no-brainer. I've been saying for years, and the final thing with that is that every time the baseball all-star break comes, I beg the CFL to schedule games right in the middle of that. Because except for the home run derby, and that's bull anyway, and the game itself, there's all this programming that just is begging for a lead story, and that should have been a CFL game.
Yeah, no, you're 100%
right. What if it's
right.
on a Monday, or a Wednesday or a Tuesday? So what?
Yeah, figure it out. And you've been around a long time. What do you think of this? The rule changes. That's the thing that drives me nuts. It's like the secret sauce is the 3-down game, the 110 yards. You just said it. It's marketing. They haven't marketed. They haven't organized. And so now what we're going to do is, like, I refuse to believe they'll sell one more ticket because they've moved the goalposts and shortened the field and done all this other stuff.
I love the kicking game. I'm sorry. I love the kicking game. To me, I knew all the kickers in the CFL growing up.
Yeah.
The quarterbacks, not as much. The kickers, are you kidding me? Ed Ulmer for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Larry Robinson for years for the Calgary Stampeders.
Calgary.
Right?
Yeah.
I knew all these guys. Dave Cutler, right? The kickers, because the kicking game is so important. And I've seen so many games won or lost because of the kicking. And people are, we don't want to see that. We want to see touchdowns. Give me are you kidding me? Forget about kicking a 57-yard field goal to win it. How about the rouge, the important rouge? When you've got the ball inside the 30 or whatever, and you just boot it out of the end zone. Just knock it out and wind the clock down and knock it out of the end zone. And now the wind catches it, and you got two deep receivers, and way deep in the end zone, they catch it, and now they kick it back out. I mean, come on. That's the greatest. And I don't care if the Americans don't know about the rouge or anything. Screw that.
I agree.
That's what makes it unique. That's what makes it unique. Call it Canadian rules football. Call it Canadian football. It doesn't matter. It's football. It's what we grew up with. Now you're gonna bastardize this game for the Americans. Come on.
Hey, do you ever get over what happened to the Blue Jays? If you're a Blue Jays fan, do you ever get over this last playoff run like that?
You have to.
How do you though, Mark? Well, they could have won that 2 times over. That's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. You're going to have to get over it. It's the way it is, right? It's just the way it is. Now, here's the way you should look at it is that, oh my God, I can't believe they got that close. And next year, you just wait and see. So really, the pressure is seriously on this organization for this coming season. Not 2 or 3 years from now. No, this season. This is where you pull out all the stops to ensure that you not only get back to the World Series, but you win it this time, right?
Yeah.
And this is how you keep your fan base. So there's only one way to go here. You cannot fall in the standings. You can't only get to the wild card and then lose out. I mean, unless you got a seriously super exciting team, and it's just so thrilling that. But you've now hooked a whole new generation of fans. Mark, now, you've hooked a generation from the ages of like 0 to, infinity. Whole new 100%. Phenomenal. 100%. Phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. Do you have a favorite sport? You mentioned a bunch of them. Do you have a favorite sport? If you had to sit in a room and watch one sport for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, it'd be baseball.
Yeah?
Listen, seriously, I would watch, and you don't know, I watch baseball games live from the Dominican Republic, from Venezuela. I watch the live stream games from Mexico. Oh, yeah, I'm crazy for that. I love it, but I also love the media. I love the way the games are shown, and listen to the announcers in other languages describe baseball. It's the most beautiful thing. It's phenomenal, right? Because the passion in the voices of the announcers, which is different from other sports, of course, But there's something about the baseball announcers, and I don't understand Spanish very well, but certainly I understand the baseball language of Spanish. I could listen to these dudes all the time. I love it. I'm serious. I'm serious. If you ever get a chance, go on YouTube. And Licey is their two best teams in the Dominican Republic are both in Santo Domingo, Licey and Escogido. Yeah. These are the teams that the Guerreros play for in the wintertime. These are the major league players will play for these teams. And watch these games. The intensity level is amazing. The fans hate each other like you have no idea. Sitting on opposite sides of the field. It's wild. And that, to me, is sports. The passion is what it's all about.
We're talking about media here. The author of Madness, The Rise and Ruin of Sports Media. My favorite broadcaster, I don't care news or sports, of all time is Vin Scully. I think Vin Scully was the best. When you think about this, he used to do games by himself well into his 80s, and I would sit and listen and watch just to see if he said or ah. And he never did that either. He never said or ah. To me, he was the greatest of all time. Do you have a favorite of all time?
Listen, I would put Vin right up there for sure. If as far as play-by-play guys in any sport, okay, because he was a good football play-by-play guy. He was a really good golf play-by-play guy, really good.
He was good.
But I've met him on a number of occasions actually, because I don't want to say our careers overlap, but in fact they did for many years. Because Vin worked until he was in his 90s, right?
Yeah.
And he worked by himself at a pace that just was a beautiful, wonderful pace. And it didn't matter. He didn't have to call the pitch as it was happening, right? So as the pitch crossed the plate for ball 4, he didn't have to say it at that exact moment. He could finish the thought on radio, not on TV, but he could finish the thought. And then as the guy was third of the way jogging up to first base, he could say ball 4 and the bases are loaded. Yeah. Right? Whereas another guy would have to feel that he would say in real time, and as soon as the pitch crossed the plate, ball 4, he would say, ball 4, like that. But on radio, Vin didn't have to do that because his audience didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. Right? And so he set this type of a pace, which is just wonderful and almost hypnotic. And you could listen to only him. And he's talking to all of you like you're one-on-one with him. It's just you and him.
It was unbelievable. So to answer my question, who's your favorite besides Vin?
Well, for play-by-play, it would be Harry Carey.
Oh, you like Harry?
Contemporary of Vin, and I used to pick up on KMOX radio out of St. Louis late when the sun went down in the late summer, in the summertime, up in northern Ontario. So, in the summertime, I was a kid. And so, the sun would go down, 9 o'clock or 9:30, and I'd hear these games and they were from St. Louis or Los Angeles or San Francisco, but it was late at night, and we'd be dialing through to try to find the different stations, the rock stations, the top 40 stations.
Wasn't that the best? Wasn't that? I still love doing that.
The best. Unfamiliar voices. Like, where are we on the dial? And in those days, the dials were not not digital. So you'd kind of looking, is that 710 or 740? Is that 690? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They were odd dials. Look those up. They were crazy, right? And so you'd hear, now clear as a bell at 11:30 a.m. KMOX. 50,000 watt power station, St. Louis Cardinal baseball with Harry Carey and Jack Buck. Hi, everybody. Here we are from Connie Mack Stadium in Philadelphia. From Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, it's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Here's the Cardinal batting order. So I fell in love with the St. Louis Cardinals, and I detailed this in the book. This is where I fell in love with sports broadcasting, was hearing these games from faraway places and going, wow, would I love to be there? And then listening it so intently, because I can't see a thing. These guys are my eyes and ears, and they're describing something that's just so foreign to me, but just so magical.
Oh,
I don't know what they look like. Remember, I don't know what they look like. I've never seen pictures of. Where would I see a picture of Harry Carey or Jack? These voices, right? I don't know. I've seen in Sports Illustrated. I've seen pictures of the St. Louis Cardinal players. Yeah. Right, or in a newspaper picture if they were at a big game or something like that. But other than that, I have no idea.
No idea.
So it's even more magical. It's wonderful, the descriptions, and I feel as if I've been to this place before, and that to me just got me so hooked. These guys were so good.
Hey, so give me a synopsis and my viewers a synopsis on the book, and where can we get this book? Just wherever you can get books?
Yeah, exactly right. You can get it at Amazon, Indigo, at your local bookstore. Ask for it by name. You know, it's really pretty simple these days. And if you like it, write a review. Nowadays, especially, writing a review is like way better, even better than thumbs up or likes or stuff like that, because it's tangible and it's from someone who's registered, who actually bought the book and read the book.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's a big deal nowadays. Like I'm not lying to you that, you know, if people enjoy the book, please, the author really appreciates it if you write a nice review.
Yeah.
The more glowing, the better. If you can say that, because if I can't hype the book, who's going to hype it for me? So
Right,
no one's going to say,
exactly.
by the way, Mark, you leave it to me. I thought the book was so fantastic. I'm going to take over, and I'm just going to use my vast social network to let people know how spectacular this book is. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, and the book is essentially, it's a history of sports journalism and sports media. So from the writers to radio play-by-play and radio sportscasters, and then television, of course, and how television and sports were kind of made for each other, and then the commentary of the Howard Cossells of the world and the Don Cherrys of the world, and shows like Wide World of Sports, which was on every Saturday.
Yep.
And Maple Leaf games, you know, hockey night in Canada every Saturday night. And then Wednesdays, they would have Wednesday games too.
Yeah.
Like instead of once a week, it was twice a week. It was blew your mind.
It blew your mind.
When I was 10 years old, it blew my mind. You're telling me, you know, it would be like, a double feature movie. Oh, you're going away to the movies. Oh, by the way, you get to see 2 movies. 2. You mean
That's
double?
awesome.
You mean and then you know what I mean. Like instead of having 1 hamburger, you could have 2 hamburgers.
Yeah, 2 hamburgers.
Ooh, so you're telling me I can watch 2 Maple Leaf games like in a week?
Well, you know, it's funny. It's funny you bring up blackouts, because we'd go on some family vacations. We didn't have a lot of money, but like if we were going to Edmonton, or I remember going to Winnipeg, and I'd look at the rider schedule and I'd be like, oh, awesome. Saturday we're in Winnipeg. We can watch the Tiger Cats and Riders from Taylor Field. I have never seen Taylor Field on TV for a game. I can't wait.
Am I right?
I couldn't wait.
Am I right? Is that not great? Now imagine being in the East, okay? Imagine it's, let's say it's November. It's before the Grey Cup. It's around playoff time, maybe the last week of the season or whatever. And I've just watched a game from the East. I've just watched Toronto-Montreal or Toronto-Ottawa or whatever. Probably not Toronto because they got blacked out, so they had to have been on the road. So let's say the Argos are playing in Ottawa. And maybe it's cold or it's a little rainy or whatever, a muddy field or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on anywhere in the world. I don't care. And now the game's over and Ottawa wins and the Argos are eliminated or whatever the case is. And now they go, let's join, already in progress, let's join the Western Conference semifinal. Yeah. Now let's go live to Don Whitman and CBC. And then the first thing you see is it's Winnipeg or it's Taylor Field. It's Taylor Field. Yeah. And it's snowing like crazy. Right? Yeah. It's like a blizzard. And you're just like, okay, where you were, it was maybe a little damp or whatever, but like it's 2 feet of snow. It's November and you're going, what the hell's going on? And there's Jack Avinshin kicking straight on. Like, Jack Avinshin, what the hell is he doing? Huey Campbell, who are these guys in green and white? And you're watching this going, where? Taylor Field, what is this, what kind of place is this? Totally, like, it was like Oz to us. Like, where is this place, man? Kansas? Like, whoa, holy cow. Yeah. Look, we don't get weather like this. It's certainly not in November. We don't get stuff like this. And then you'd have, like I say, Don Whitman or Frank Rigney or
Frank Rigney and Dale Isaac and Al McCann and all those guys.
Al McCann or how about this one? Wait a second. You'd have Ken Newens from Calgary.
Kenny Newens,
right? So all these dudes, Ernie Afghani's, hi everybody from Edmonton. He'd have a he'd have a trench coat on the sidelines. It'd be minus 25.
You know what I miss? I could talk to you forever. You know what I miss? I miss growing up as a kid. You'd watch the Grey Cup, and the first half would be Pat Marsden with Leaf Pedersen in the play-by-play booth, and in the CTV guys, and the second half would be Don Whitman with Leo Cale and Ron Lancaster, and CBC and CTV would split the games. It's such a romantic time back then.
See, and this is why you can't not love the book that I just wrote, because if you, hands up if you ever watch sports on TV. Hello?
Yeah,
hands up if you ever listened to sports on the radio.
Yeah.
Hands up if you ever read anything about sports or your favorite. Okay, then this book's for you. You're
Yeah.
going to go,
Okay.
You're going to go, oh, yeah. John Madden and Pat Summerall. Oh, of course. What about CFL? Oh, Don Chevrier. Oh, yeah, of course. Blue Jay games.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
You're going to get a
Yeah,
lot of that because we're losing that because every game now that every game is on TV, there's 9 million different broadcast crews now. It's like your head's spinning. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What am I watching? Right? Who's working for who? Because every game's on television. And nowadays, of course, since it's so fragmented, you have to wonder, like, okay, wait, now where is this game available? Is it on conventional television, over the air?
Well, 100%. You got to get 18 streaming services. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Right.
Anyway, get that book. I'm going to run out and get that book, and I'll leave you a good review. Okay, bud?
Hey, listen, I appreciate it, Michael. Thank you.